And the Pfizer vaccine just got approved by the FDA.
Yeah, I don't know why
Which
that
is
took so.
pretty cool.
Why does that take so long?
Well, they want to make sure that they don't approve it and then it comes out and everyone gets horribly, horribly sick from it or dies.
But they
Has
finished
some
the
sort of
clinical
defect.
trials. I mean, I understand. I'm not bitching because I know that they did a vaccine in a record amount of time. Record amount of time. We've never had a vaccine done this fast.
Well, H1N1 is pretty quick.
But when we know that people are dying in the streets and we have leadership that is doing nothing to mitigate it, you would think that soon as Pfizer said, look, we have a 90%, the FDA should have been meeting with him immediately. I mean, that should have been urgent. That should not have been, hey, Pfizer has a 90% successful vaccine, and then 2-3 weeks later, they're meeting with the FDA. Who scheduled this fucking meeting? This meeting should have been, Pfizer and the FDA should have been on the fucking phone hours after Pfizer concluded that their vaccine was 90% effective. There should not have been this, oh, we'll schedule you at a normal no, that should have been done. We shouldn't be waiting until next week or within 48 hours to get these things out now. Bless the scientists that did this, and I will note that CNN released the fact that there was a black woman on the team of scientists that developed this vaccine. But I think, we're living in the days of cell phones, microwaves, and high-speed internet. We should have been able to get the FDA and Pfizer on the phone a lot faster than 2 weeks. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't really know the behind the scenes dealings of working with vaccines, but I'm sure a lot of money is involved.
Well,
which is the sad thing.
There's a lot of money, but there's no government money, and that's what I like about Pfizer. Is that Pfizer refused to take any government money to fast track this. He refused all of the Trump administration's pleas and attempted coups and buy-ins. Pfizer refused it from every world government. They were their own people. They were going to work on their own terms, and they didn't want any politics to influence what they were going to do. They played it as they are, the pharmaceutical company that they are. They would not be bought. They would not sell out. They would not have any government on this planet ruling over what they're going to do for the vaccine. That makes me put a little bit more trust in Pfizer, even though they are known for making the PP pill. They're known for making Viagra. And if
is it Viagra or Cialis?
Both. I know Viagra for sure. So if everybody gets the vaccination and they get a boner, happy world.
Hey, that's fine. If it lasts more than 4 hours, call a doctor.
No. If it lasts for more than 4 hours, fuck some more.
Yeah, there you go. I don't buy it. I'm fine with the Pfizer vaccine. I'll be the first in line. But I don't buy that there wasn't any sort of politics, because how long this took, and there's no money involved, basically is what they're saying, is we're doing this and we're not taking any money, blah, blah, blah. But then they're quick to approve drugs that are basically fucking meth. And
now
say these are perfectly safe.
Those, I believe they have some politics behind it. But this particular, the Pfizer CEO said to multiple media outlets that he would not accept any government money, and the way that he's doing.
But that's why I'm saying it took so long, because they weren't getting any money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you're saying. I absolutely see what you're saying. But I like the fact that they didn't let any government buy them in, and then what they're doing, and what they're doing now is handling it like they would any other vaccine. This is how many we have. This is how much they are. Governments buy them as you want. They're not inflating them. They're not trying to they're not trying to run a bid war, between, one country overbidding another country like we were doing back for fucking ventilators. You know what I'm saying? None of that took place.
I did hear that the Trump administration did have to strong arm the FDA a bit on hey, this needs to get done now or we're going to crack down on you. which, you know what? I think that's the right move. You got to strong arm them a bit. I think it's just important to get this out. And especially with like the high success rate that they're seeing. I mean, we'll see. We may all turn into like horrible green monsters next year, zombies. This next year could be the zombie year because of the Pfizer vaccine turns us into zombies, but I don't care. That sounds more fun than dealing with a fucking virus.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, where you can't.
I'd rather deal with zombies. That'd be fun.
Yeah, you can't. You just want to kill zombies, but you'll be a zombie.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Hey, man.
You know what? You'd make a great zombie, Jake. If there was anybody that I think could pull off zombie, it would be you.
It's because I'm already like gross and nasty looking. So.
5, 6, 7, 8.
What is up, boyos? This is the Jake and Cory podcast. I'm Jake. That is Cory. What's up, Cory?
Good night, Jake.
That's it. That's the end of the show. This is where we need the editor to put in the end sound clip, you know?
Yeah, plug that right in.
I'm gonna say that like I'm not the editor.
I was about to say.
Oh man, it's been a eventful week, I'd say, for me. Just as far as announcements and such, the Game Awards were a big deal that happened, which you don't give a shit about, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow on the other show. But Disney dropped some shit that I kind of want to talk about.
You're saying the mouse dropped a poop?
Yeah, little mouse turd.
Little mouse dookie.
Yeah, little mousy duke. One of the big things that they dropped, and everyone's like saying that Disney is saving theaters, is Black Widow. Basically, they said that's gonna come out in theaters only. Like, they're not doing the HBO thing. They're not doing what Warner Brothers is doing and doing the half and half.
I've been seeing that shit everywhere. I've been seeing coming to theaters and HBO Max. I've been seeing that all over the place now.
Yeah. And selfishly, I'm gonna watch all those movies on HBO Max.
Of course, you are.
It is what it is. But then they had a big like a stockholder meeting. I don't know if you saw any of this.
No.
Basically saying like they're really doubling down on Disney Plus. There's going to be 10 new Star Wars shows, 10 new Marvel shows, as well as a new category. Do you have Disney Plus? Do you use Disney Plus at all?
Nope.
Have you used Disney Plus?
Nope, never have. I thought about getting it at the beginning of the pandemic when the kid was home. And as soon as he beat cheeks off to college, there's no need. I'm even considering closing down Netflix.
Yeah, I rarely use Netflix myself.
I've watched all of the movies that have full frontal nudity in them, so I'm pretty much done with Netflix. Unless they're going to bring on more full frontal nudity movies, I have no reason for them.
Well, you're in luck, because that is something they were talking about. Was so basically on Disney Plus, they've got different sections. Like, there's a Star Wars section, there's Marvel section, there's like the Disney cartoon section, you know. And they announced that they are going to be adding a new section called the Star section, which is going to be a collection of live action films, mostly Fox films, like the films that they acquired from Fox. Which means that's a lot of R-rated films. So basically, this is saying, because what everyone was saying about Disney Plus is like it has to be child friendly, and they really have to think about what they're putting on there. But the way they're working around it is basically adding a section, and if you click on that section, you have to like enter your password, and then it unlocks mature content on Disney Plus. And it kind of it raises the question on like what's going to happen to Hulu, which is also owned by Disney, which is kind of where they've been dropping all their mature content.
Wait a minute, Hulu has mature content?
Yeah, like Handmaid's Tale and movies and stuff.
Oh,
I'm not saying like triple X explicit content.
Well,
but,
rated
R films.
Clearly,
yeah, rated R films. They also talked a lot about adult animation, so like Family Guy stuff like that is going to go on Disney Plus. Yeah, and it just raises a lot of questions, like what's the point of Hulu now? Because they even talked about like FX shows, which is also Disney, which have had a big presence on Hulu. I don't know if you use Hulu.
Nope.
But like FX is big on Hulu, so now that's going over to Disney. But they did say they're going to be working on some shows on Hulu as well. One of them is a show starring Steve Martin and Martin Short. They're coming back together, so that's pretty cool. They announced a bunch of stuff. They also announced a new Pixar movie, which is called Lightyear, and it's about the origin story of Buzz Lightyear, and it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be like the show that Andy from Toy Story would have been watching to make him want to buy the toy of Buzz Lightyear, if that makes sense.
That sounds
I feel
horrible. That sounds,
I feel the same.
You're gonna spend what, $30 million on another Pixar movie to just do another reboot of a Pixar movie?
Yeah, I feel the same. And they're recasting Buzz Lightyear as well. It's no longer Tim Allen. It's gonna be Chris Evans is gonna play Buzz Lightyear.
The guy who played Superman?
No. He played Captain America.
Oh, Captain America. Yeah. Okay. What?
I feel like that works. I feel like that's a pretty good choice if you had to do it, but I just feel like the movie doesn't need to exist. It feels like a cash grab to me.
It totally feels like a cash grab. There's no reason to have this
Which
movie.
It's unfortunate because, like, to me, Pixar has always been, like, our tour, and this sounds snobby to say, but, like, it's like our tour animation. It's movies intended for kids, but the whole family can watch it, and they've always made, like, excellent stuff. Like the first Toy Story movie is incredible.
Yeah.
And then stuff like Inside Out, which is just, it's a deep dive into how the brain functions and why sadness is important. Like that's a pretty deep concept for a kids movie. Or like Up, which just makes everybody cry, And now they're like, well, we're just going to make a Buzz Lightyear show where he's just a ranger and having a good old time fighting crime, and it's like Yeah. I mean, that's fun for the kids, I guess, but it's just.
I guess maybe it would be fun for the kids that didn't know Toy Story. Toy Story 1 has been out for quite some time. It's been a long time. So there's been a new generation that has been born. So maybe
5 years.
Maybe the mouse is hedging its bets on attracting the new generation that has only heard of Toy Story. You know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, Toy Story 4 just came out last year. So there was a fourth one that just came out last year.
Yeah, I think they're out of ideas, dude. But I've been saying that about the movie industry, the entertainment industry, music, theater. Well, not theater, but music and movies. They're out of ideas. There's the wheel has been reinvented so many damn times at this point. That's why we just keep getting reboots because there's nothing original. Yeah. And you pointed out to me at one point that all of the original concepts, the big studios are turning a blind eye to them, and they're only out there on the indie network. They're only out there at on the small networks. You know what I mean? They're not making it to the big time studios because there's probably some great, amazing indie films out there. I've seen some great creative indie films on like the Amazon platform. There's some great indie films out there. I just think that the big studios they're out of ideas, or they're turning a blind eye to anything new that doesn't fit within this ideal box of what they think is a successful movie that can grow into a successful franchise.
Yeah.
And that's narrow-minded. And if they continue working in that narrow mindicity, we're going to continue to have these types of things over and over and over and over and over. It's never going to get any better.
I almost feel like in Pixar's case, right? Like, well, Pixar is an esteemed studio, so they can kind of do whatever they want. But I also feel like Disney's like, hey, we'll let you make Onward, and we'll let you make Soul, which Soul isn't out yet, but it looks incredible. It's about a guy who falls into a manhole and dies and turns into a soul, and it's like this big jazz sort of love affair, just about jazz and like colorful souls and stuff. And they're like, we'll let you make that as long as you make our huge blockbuster Lightyear movie that'll make us $1 gazillion, which, you know, fair enough. I do wonder about indie films while we're on the topic of indie films, and big budget blockbusters, right? For the past few years, yeah, all we see is, you know, Fast and Furious, which, you know, I'll admit, it's a fun franchise. I have fun with it. Star Wars, they're pretty bad these days, but, you know, it's a fun franchise, you know, but these are like the only movies we see. Marvel.
Sure.
But now with you know, everything that happened this year, I'd imagine studios have a bit less money to take risks on these massive franchises that cost $1 billion, and they need to make $1 billion. So maybe we'll go back to the heyday of, like, you know, the late 70s when Star Wars was made, and they're like, hey, we'll give you, you know, $30 million to make this space opera thing. And I feel like limitations, like budget limitations like that, make art more interesting sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you don't just have all the funds to do whatever you want. Like a Michael Bay film where he can just, you know, put in all these special effects and he doesn't have to worry about it. Now you kind of have to be like, okay, this is the shot I want. How do I do it within reason of the budget? And it comes out more interesting. You know, I'd say like Star Wars is a great example, the original Star Wars, where he just kind of had to use these models and use these weird sort of techniques to make it work, hire unknown actors to play the roles. The only actor who was really known at the time when Star Wars came out was Alec Guinness. And he was sort of the draw to the movie. Harrison Ford was sort of known, but not really.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll go back to that in the future, and we're just sort of seeing the remnants of that hyper budget stuff coming out. Like, you know, we still need that new 007 to come out. There's still a couple Marvel films to come out, but at the same time, Disney has all the money in the world to do whatever the hell they want, so maybe I'm just speaking out my ass and it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, so translation of you speaking out of your ass. The
Thank you. Thank you.
I've always said that Hollywood is out of ideas. And it's just Disney needs to maybe not focus so much on movies right now. You know, maybe focus on taking some of that movie money and helping some of the 30,000 employees that they just laid off, you know,
right?
Get through a couple of months without a job. How about you do that, Diz?
Yeah.
You know
How about
what I mean?
Instead of funding Lightyear, you fund the people who lost their job at Disneyland that you laid off.
Yeah. You know, the little 19, $20, $23 an hour people. Why don't you help those people out? You know what I mean? Movies are great. Movies are good, but how about you reallocate some of those funds? And I know there's not a lot out there, but you know, a couple of billion here and there to help out those people might, you know, do a world of difference, you know, is the way that I say it. Not to, I love the mouse. I'm afraid of the mouse, but the mouse could, you know, divide up the cheese a little differently. Is what I'm saying.
I feel that way. Like, maybe we'll see more movies because they need to like they need to fill the slate once things open back up. You know, they need to return to that weekly release like they were doing before. That's gonna happen. But maybe we'll see more.
Do people go and see movies more than people go to amusement parks? Where do you think that market divide is?
For Disney?
Yeah. Do you think people go and see more Disney movies, or do you think people go and go to Disney parks, or do you think that it's maybe an equal market share on both sides?
Well, I think more people see the movies than go to the parks, but I think the parks are massive income for them just off of the price of the ticket alone.
Yeah, it's like, even before the pandemic, wasn't it almost $200 for a 3-day pass or something like that to get into to Diz? And I've been to Disneyland.
It was $100 a day.
I've taken the kids to Disneyland, and it was great. It's not fat friendly. I can tell you that right now. It's not. I mean, the only exhibit that was really fat friendly was the science exhibit where you just walk around and you look at stuff. But there wasn't a lot of fat friendly things to do. I'd
say the atmosphere alone in Disneyland is worth going, though.
Yeah, I'm not paying $200 for someone's atmosphere.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
And I took the kids, and it was great. Even though when we went, it was under some horrible pretenses. We were with a group, and we were trying to save money. Jake, I haven't always been moneyed. So it wasn't great as in that group because we had to do everything as that group. You know what I mean? All the hotel rooms were next to each other, and there was an agenda, an itinerary where you had to get up, and the bus was going to be here at this time. And if you didn't get on the bus at this time, you'd have to pay for another bus pass to get to the park, and blah, 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 blah. It wasn't a very good, I mean, the kid didn't care, but it just wasn't an ideal free-for-all way of doing Disneyland.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it was for me up until sort of recently, because now when I go with the family, which, not going anytime soon, but when I do go with the fam, they have that itinerary. But I'm a grown-ass man, and I'm just like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fucking go over there. I'll meet you guys at the parade later. Usually me and whoever else I'm with will go with me, and yeah, so that's a much better experience. I will say, though, like, going to Disneyland, like, it's the only place like where you can walk around the corner and there's just a random dude just like playing jazz music on a guitar in the corner, and then you'll walk around the other corner and there's just a big band like trombones, fucking tuba going ham, and you're like, what the fuck? It's so awesome. And then like fucking Mickey Mouse is there, and you're like, holy shit, it's Mickey Mouse. Like, I love the aesthetic. I love the aesthetic of Disneyland. But yeah, it's hella overpriced, but it's a really cool experience.
Yeah, I take sitting on the beach for 8 hours with sand between my knuckles over the Mouse Park. Young kids,
there's value in both things.
All my kids are grown now. They don't care. If they want to go, they'd have the attitude that you have with your family if I took them to Disneyland right now. Except for AJ. AJ would be, Disneyland. I don't care. He's just a big kid. But I would take sitting.
Me too.
I take sitting on a beach. God, that sounds so good right now. Fucking
I agree.
hell, that sounds amazing. I'm just thinking right now about sitting on the beach in my fat-proof beach chair with my gay-ass, colorful, rainbowed umbrella over my head that attracts people that smell weird. I miss the weird guy with the horrible tan that's shirtless, and probably maybe 40 years ago he was in good shape, but he's still rocking that shirtless look with the parrot on his shoulder. I miss the beach. Man, I miss the beach. Damn. That just made me sad.
Yeah.
That made me sad.
I think there's a value in both things. Like, I think Disneyland is really cool, but like I also really just love like going to San Diego.
Yes.
Going to the beach and then
Black's
like
Beach.
Walking around.
You've been to Black's Beach, haven't you?
I have no idea.
You've never been to Black's Beach? No, you know if you were at Black's Beach.
Is it a nude beach?
It's a nude beach.
Yeah, I think I went to a nude beach once in Hawaii, and it was weird because I was also like 16 or something.
And you were wearing a parka and a poncho and a full hazmat suit.
Fully clothed.
Sunglasses on, sombrero.
But back to my previous point where I was saying like they need to fill these slates.
Yeah.
You know, like they're going to go back to weekly releases and stuff. So maybe we'll see more like independent films being purchased by these big companies like Warner Brothers. Like what I'm thinking of is like Kevin Smith back in the 90s, right? He made Clerks. He made it himself. The dude financed it himself. And then he's like, I need this movie to get in theaters. So he took it to Sundance. And then, unfortunately, Harvey Weinstein bought it. But, you know, Miramax kind of picked him up. Same thing happened with Quentin Tarantino when he made Reservoir Dogs. You know, so maybe we'll go back to that sort of classic auteur film where it's like a sort of niche film turns into a massive success, which we haven't really seen too much these days because all we see that are like the massive successes are like Avengers Endgame, which is a great movie, but we don't have Star Wars in the classic sense of Star Wars. We have Star Wars, but we don't have like that 1970 Star Wars where it's George Lucas, this independent filmmaker who's made 2 films, American Graffiti, which was like semi-successful, and THX, which was like an indie darling, but wasn't like a huge success. And then he makes Star Wars on a very limited budget, and it turns into this cultural phenomena, you know, that is still around to this day.
Yeah.
I'd love to see another one of those. I don't know what it is because I'm not that auteur, but like I would love to see another quote unquote Star Wars. I'd love to see another quote unquote Reservoir Dogs, another, you know, Clerks sort of deal. I think we have the potential. We're in a space now, once COVID ends, to have a lot of people who are artistic, who don't have jobs, so they have free time, and they're like, fuck it, I'm just going to risk it all on this thing. You know, and we might see some interesting things come out of that.
You never know. You absolutely never know.
Being optimistic, turning a negative into a positive here.
Yeah, but yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah, you're orbiting way outside of my my gravitational pull.
Sorry, being very, very nerdy about movies over here.
Yeah, I got nothing, and
the economics of movies.
Yeah, and while you were talking about all that, the only thing I was thinking is that maybe I should order some Wingstop wings for the basketball game tonight. I don't know. That's all I was thinking about because I cleaned my dish. Dude, you know I'm OCD. I am a bit of a clean freak, even though my personal space, like, you know, my bedroom and stuff like that, it goes to shit every once in a while. And one thing I've never done is I've never cleaned out my dishwasher. Now, I've never used my dishwasher in the sense of the dishwasher being designed to be used. I've used my dishwasher after I've hand washed my dishes. I'll put them in the dishwasher to dry. But using the dishwasher as a dishwasher, I don't do that very often. So I was sitting and I was watching TV as I do, being so lonely without anyone to cuddle with. And I saw this commercial of this solution to clean your dishwasher. I was like, I've never cleaned my dishwasher. So I bought it and I got this thing in it, and you have to set it on the highest level, like for pots and pan cleaning, which is the strongest setting of your dishwasher. You put it in there, and now my dishwasher smells all sparkly clean and beautiful and yummy. Don't know why.
Oh, dude, what was that? What was that one? That one ad? Was that OxyClean? Where it had that creepy, like, it was like the dishwasher like circle thing where you put the liquid, but like in the ad it would like talk. He's like OxyClean, blah, 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 blah. He'd like eat the. It was like the most horrifying commercial because it's just like the lips and he had no eyes and he'd be like, oh yeah, OxyClean. Oh, no,
nothing.
That's not ringing any bells. Huh?
No bells. No bells will be ringing. The sad news. Oh, what a Christmas. To have the blues. That is my Christmas song. You know that, right? That's my Christmas.
That's a kick-ass bass line.
That's my Christmas song right there. You know what? I think I'm going to record that song.
That's a good one. I'll play bass, dude. Send me the track. I'll play bass for you.
There's already bass in the karaoke track.
Damn it. I used to play in a cover band pre-COVID. And last Christmas, that was one of the songs we played. Good times. It's a banger for sure.
It is a banger.
I think my Christmas song, my favorite Christmas song, is Oh Have a Blue.
The Elvis Presley version, really?
Oh yeah.
Can you?
Dude.
Without you, I didn't think it was possible for you to get any whiter. And you just got as white as it could possibly be. Thank you, Casper.
I just love his fucking warble. It's so good, dude.
It's not so good. Warble. They don't call it a warble. Do they?
A vibrato.
I was about to say a vibrato is what it is.
Is a vibrato is not warble? How would you describe vibrato? A warble. It's a warble.
Okay, you're speaking in guitar terms. You think that
no.
think that Elvis Presley had a wah-wah pedal in his throat? Is that what you're thinking?
It's called vibrato on guitar as well.
You think that when Elvis Presley was singing, somebody held him in the arms and shook and tweaked the neck a little bit to give it that different twang sound?
I think since the vibrato is so intense, I think it's okay that we call it a warble because it's so intense. An intense vibrato is a warble.
There are Elvis Presley fans that want to stab you in the jugular right now to
no,
call
dude, they're
Elvis
all dead.
Presley.
They're all dead.
They're not all dead.
Or they're all dead or not listening to this.
Yeah, they're definitely not listening to this.
They're like 85 years old.
That
dude.
really
Elvis.
is your that's your go-to Christmas song. I'll have a blue or the Elvis Presley.
I don't know. I don't really care about Christmas music too much. That's just the first one that came to mind.
Said the musician. I'm not even speaking of that, we're a couple of weeks away from Christmas to pivot here if
True.
I can. Are you even in the fucking Christmas spirit at this point?
Slightly. Not really. I never really care about Christmas to begin with. It's not really my thing. I grew up in a very religious household. Not religious. Kind of hate the idea of Christmas. But I appreciate Christmas. I appreciate Christmas like from the kid's eye, the children's eye. I've got nieces and nephews, and I would never kill that for them. You know, I love that they love Santa Claus and the spirit. You know, I love that. I like seeing the lights. You know, it's very pretty. But I just Christmas just doesn't do much for me. I'm more of a Thanksgiving guy, honestly. I just like eating turkey and hanging out with people and talking.
I have done fuck all for Christmas this year. And that's a huge thing for me because I have been notorious for my decorations. When I bought my house 11 years ago, I think I spent over a 5-year span, I want to say close to maybe $10,000 on Christmas decorations. That's over a 5-year span, 5 or 6 years. And they were all internal. They weren't, I didn't do a lot outside. Maybe a wreath on the door. And then I had a janky old lemon tree in my front yard. It's gone now, but it was just so sad and pathetic that I ordered this one big, huge red bulb that I would put on it. So it would, and then I ordered a blue blanket to kind of make it a real life Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And that was like the extent of my outdoors decorations. But inside the house, and Jake, I don't know if you've ever had a chance to see it. Inside the house, people put a train under their tree. I had an entire village with running water and moving lights and mountain ranges. And the reason why it was so expensive is because I bought all of these ceramic little Christmas village houses, and they're not cheap. We had the church, we got the school. I even have a Home Depot one. I have a Home Depot Christmas village ceramic decorations. And it was on it was on an elevated stand. I had a custom base for the tree so that the tree was the center point of this village, and then all of the people and the snow and all that going around, and then the house was decorated from tip to toe. It would take me at least 3 weeks to decorate my great room, my dining room, my kitchen, and my downstairs powder room. That's how big I was for Christmas. This year, I didn't even put up a fucking tree. And I'm not planning on it. It does not feel like Christmas to me.
What's the point?
It does not feel like Christmas to me. The only reason why I did all of those other decorations and stuff like that, and why I kept spending more money and adding more to it every year I would do a different color theme. One year, it was for my parents who loved red, so I did a poinsettia theme, and I literally had this palette of fake poinsettias ordered from Home Depot, had them deliver it to the house, a palette. I have to own right now at least 75 different boxes full of poinsettia plants in them, and every box has maybe about a 10 or 12 poinsettias squeezed in them. And they're all in storage right now. That's how big I went for Christmas. This year, I'm not feeling anything. I'm not feeling the music. I'm not feeling the spirit. I'm seeing all the people's houses. I didn't even realize it was Christmas until I saw my neighbor put their lights up. That's how fucking crazy this year has been. And I'm not in the Christmas spirit at all. I'm not playing Christmas music. I had someone reach out to me on Fat Guy Radio Show and say, hey, how come you guys aren't playing Christmas openings and Christmas music? I didn't even realize that we weren't. I didn't even realize it was Christmas. I'm not in the spirit. I did Thanksgiving because I like to eat. And here it is, Christmas, and the only thing that I have planned to do this month is have one of those expensive routine dealership service things done to my car, and I'm gonna call it a day.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling it at all, and I'm sure that there are people out there that are probably in the same boat. It don't feel like Christmas right now, man. It don't feel like Christmas. I watched The Grinch on NBC. They did the live stage play adaptation of The Grinch, and it was okay. I love that story. They didn't put me in a Christmas spirit. I'm not feeling it at all. I'm just not. And normally I'm the Christmas angel, and I'm not feeling it.
You're always an angel, Cory.
We had a listener or a bonus subscriber of Fat Guy Radio Show actually reached out and said, hey, why don't you guys put a Christmas tree in the studio or something? And that's the extent of my Christmas decorations. I grabbed one of my small Christmas trees that I have, because I have multiple Christmas trees. I grabbed one of the 3-foot tall ones, and I took it into the studio and put it in the background. And that was it. That's the most that I've done about Christmas. I haven't even played Christmas music on the show until last week. It's just so weird. It does not feel like Christmas.
So, side tangent real quick. You were talking about train. Just interesting fact about my father. He has a room in his house that is literally a train room. He's built like a little city, like the train that goes around the city and stuff, and it's like up on this platform, and it's all like decked out and shit. Just think that's weird. Thought I'd throw that out
No,
there.
that's not weird. That sounds fucking amazing. And when
It's
COVID
pretty cool.
when COVID is over, I want to see that. As if I could,
For sure,
as
dude.
if I could have any more respect for your dad. He's now king to me because I have always wanted to fucking do that with the bridges and the grass and the mountains and the little buildings.
Yeah.
And then does he have a tunnel? Does the train go in the tunnel? The train goes in the tunnel.
He's got. I think it's got 2 tunnels.
The train goes in 2 tunnels. The train goes in 2 tunnels.
He has like this wooden platform, but like it's got like angles and it's all like decked out and like he's got it all lined up and stuff. It's crazy. It's wild.
You cut this part of the show out right now and you send it to Papa Jake and you let him hear these words that are coming out of my mouth. Papa Jake, this is Cory Blaze. Hey, how you doing? Internet's Cory Blaze. Papa Jake, if I've always respected you. You have an amazing personality. You are a great guy from the day that I met you. And to hear that you have a train room with a train village going in and it's got 2 tunnels where the trains go through the tunnels, you telling me, Papa Jake, I can't love you no more than I do right now. I've always wanted that. I'm so jealous. Please, Papa Jake, let me see your train to go through the tunnel. I want to see the train go through the tunnel. And I will sit there like a kid with like a fat kid's face up against the glass of a candy store. That's how excited I would be to see your train go through the tunnel. Please tell me, Papa Jake, here, make this chocolate boy's Christmas wish come true. Let me see the train go through the tunnel.
Well, I tell you what, Cory.
Yes.
Pre-COVID, my dad did some pretty bitchin' poker nights, and you'll just have to come to one of those so you can come check out the train.
No, I need a special invite. Just me and the train and the tunnel.
Well, we'll set you up and we'll leave.
I don't want to poker. I just want to sit there. You think I'm joking? I'm not even joking. I would literally sit there, dude. When I was a little kid,
I believe you.
When I was a little kid, Jake, a young adolescent, don't know what my PP did, kid. I was in the Matchbox cars. You know, the little die-cast cars.
Yeah.
And what I would do,
like Hot Wheels.
Yeah, like Hot Wheels. I had a limousine. I had a diesel truck. I had several diesel trucks. I had hundreds of these Matchbox cars. And then my dad bought me this pool table, this little mini-sized pool table. I think it maybe was about the size of, a 4-seat kitchen table. I mean, it wasn't a full-size pool table, but it was a pool table, and it was a portable one. I never once played pool on that thing. What I did is I would collect oatmeal canisters, Quaker Oats oatmeal canisters. I would collect empty cereal boxes, any little delivery boxes that would come in, and I would take construction paper and paint and markers and glue, and I would build buildings and use the Matchbox cars to drive up to the buildings, and I developed this entire big city. I used to remember getting chastised because I would be up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on a school night in my room building these little things, making trees, going outside and getting dried leaves and finding a way to poke a hole in a box and so that would be somebody's tree in the yard. Dude, I have always had this love for little miniature things like this. And if I wasn't in radio right now, I would totally have a train room. They are just so amazing, and it can get really expensive. I've gone to hobby shops and I've looked at the setups. I mean, I look at the stuff that they buy to make it look like rocks, and then to make it look like snow, and to make it look like grass, and then the electricity that's needed for these trains. Dude, this has been my world forever. One thing that I soared at in school was building dioramas. When it was diorama day, oh, Cory always got an A. You talking about I got to construct the dinosaur in prehistoric times? Hell yeah, mine's got lights and smoke, and I took Christmas lights and night lights and plug it in the back, and stuff moved and was on an actuator, and I'd be taking toys apart so that I could make stuff move. Dude, I have always loved miniature worlds like that. That's one of the reasons why I kind of love, why I love the movie Beetlejuice. Because there's this amazing, big, huge remake city of the Beetlejuice city. I love that stuff. So to hear that your dad has a train city, man, that excites me. That almost put me in the Christmas spirit.
So my entrepreneurial spirit is flaring right now. I'm thinking about Hot Wheels, right? You know, that was like the competition to Matchbox, and they were super hot for a while, those Hot Wheels versus Matchbox, but Matchbox always seemed classier.
Yeah, they were.
Am I wrong?
They were.
They
and Matchbox also, Hot Wheels didn't often put a driver in some of their cars. Matchbox had drivers in some of their cars. When you wouldn't buy them from, like, you know, Jake, this is going to age you, but when you didn't buy them from a cheap store like Yellowfront and you bought them from an expensive store like Kmart, they would have a driver in them. And they would never have a driver in them if there was like multiple cars in a pack. If you bought like a 4-car pack or a 5-car pack, those were throwaways. Those were the ones that you drove over. The ones that you had to buy individually, those are the ones that would sometimes have a driver in them.
I think it's time for Hot Wheels to rebrand, don't you? Because when I think of Hot Wheels, I just think of like tacky. They should really change that logo, that like nasty like wheel with the flame. It's so 90s and disgusting. I'm just thinking out loud here.
It's so iconic, though.
What I'm saying is, Hot Wheels, you should hire me as your CEO and let's rebrand, because I can make you a lot of money.
And then Hot Wheels, when you hire Jake as the CEO, hire me as a product tester.
Yeah.
I will be your product tester.
The collecting mentality, collecting is so huge right now. Like, people don't really buy things. Like, I feel like kids don't buy toys to play with anymore. Like, because they have their iPads and shit. Like, if they're going to play, they're going to play with fucking iPads. I'm sure kids still play with some shit, but like, I feel like collecting is way more. It's way more profitable, right? Like the collecting mentality.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is. And Jake, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I just Google image search the Hot Wheels logo. Sorry, bruh, that's gonna have to stay.
You think?
That's gonna.
I think it's so
stay.
tacky.
That flame. I remember that, dude. When I would open up a Christmas gift back when I was a young warthog, and the first thing I saw was that yellow Hot Wheels color and that red flame, I would giggle like a schoolgirl. Sorry, Hot Wheels is gonna have to keep that logo.
All right. Well, you're more the expert than me. I was never really into Hot Wheels anyway.
I was, but you know what? One thing I did
Star Wars kid.
One thing I did notice is that when I pulled up Hot Wheels, there's a whole lot of the Hot Wheels Ultimate Garage. We didn't have that stuff back then. Your Hot Wheels were basically just that. Hot Wheels. Your Matchbox cars were basically just that. Matchbox cars. They didn't come with all of these the only accessories that came with Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars back in the day was the freaking carrying case, so you could go and trade them with your friends. This was way before Pokemon came out. You would trade Hot Wheels and marbles. That's how old I am. Hot Wheels and marbles. Man, you give me some marbles, man, I'd take your boulder in a minute.
Dude, I had like a little Hot Wheels case, and it would like spin around, and I'd spin it to like the car that I wanted. It was so dope. They don't sell that anymore because it's not about the cars anymore. It's more about like just like crashing them togetger
and watching them move. Your Hot Wheels didn't move. Your Hot Wheels didn't move by some centrifugal force being launched at it from a rubber band. No, back in the day, your Hot Wheels moved by your point your finger, pushing that bitch. That's how your Hot Wheels move. That's how your Matchbox cars move. We didn't have none of these launching toys to make them go through a loop-de-loop. You know how you made them go through a loop-de-loop? You built that fucking loop-de-loop yourself, and then you used your finger and you pushed it. You was blowing out knuckles and breaking nails and bleeding, and you were getting Matchbox cars to the face when they didn't make it all the way through the loop-de-loop. That's how you did it. That's how you real. That's how it was real back in the day. We didn't have all this fancy stuff now. And if you got a limousine when you had a Matchbox collection, that was the creme de la creme. And then if you were really wanting to be the talk of the town, you had a limousine where the doors opened. If your doors opened on your limousine, you were Hot Wheels top shit. I'm telling you that right now. If your doors opened on your limousine, you were Hot Wheels. Man, I still to this day remember losing that damn limousine. I remember it was white. It had a driver. My doors open. I remember I lost it. I left it on the city bus.
Oh man, that's the worst.
I would carry that. I carried that thing around. And I left that damn thing on the city bus. I also lost my teddy bear Bobo when I was 6 years old on the city bus.
You know what I think killed Hot Wheels? Well, they're still around, obviously.
Drugs,
but no, well, probably
LSD,
Adderall, probably Ritalin,
vaccinations.
Yeah, I think tech decks, man, because those are so tight.
No, I can tell you what killed the plane of the. Hot Wheels were popular before video games were big. Nintendo came out. Atari started growing in popularity.
It's true. Game Boy,
and then when you could, man, I remember when Atari was, a phone book size black silver button console that needed its own shelf in your living room. That's how old I am. And man, when the onslaught of the Game Boy came out, the first Game Boy that ever came out, the original Game Boy, that sucker weighed like 400 pounds. You put it in your pocket, your pants would fall off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's when people stopped playing with, you know what, I need to get back into Matchbox cars. They're so, now they're collector items, so they're really hella expensive.
You bring up video games, though, and you say that's what's killing.
I only have one Matchbox car, Jake, in my background, and my pen is pointing to it, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's one Matchbox car right there. One single.
Yeah, it's very faint.
One Matchbox car. See if I can give you some more light to see that. Nope, you can't. One Matchbox car right there, and that's all I have. And then I have a collector's NASCAR car right there.
I feel like video games were big for kids back then, but I feel like video gaming now is more aimed at adults.
Video gaming back then was what video gaming was originally intended to be. Entertainment.
Yeah, as a toy.
As a side entertainment. You know what I mean? Video gaming now is an industry and a revenue stream for hundreds of thousands of people. Back then, when video games were coming out, when I was playing the Atari or when I was playing Duck Hunt, and knowing damn well I never knew how the hell that gun was getting some type of signal through my television. Nevertheless, that was just for entertainment. Video games are no longer entertainment now. Video games are revenue streams for hundreds of thousands of people all over the world.
I think that. I also think like we've kind of realized the artistic potential of video games as well.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, we had like, there was Pong and Pac-Man and, stuff like that. But, I think with things like Metroid and then like Final Fantasy and like these things, they were sort of niche, but I think that was more aimed at an older demographic. But like still the main thing were kids. We had Mario, we had
we were just concerned about getting to Princess Toadstool. That's all we wanted to do.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out, and then when they came out with them great big old huge black bullets that flew across the screen, man, that just changed our world.
Yeah, even when the PlayStation 1 came out, I think it was still sort of aimed at kids, maybe teenagers, preteens with like Crash Bandicoot and stuff.
It was getting older when PlayStation came out. When Sony got in the game.
Yeah. It was really, but I really think it was with the Xbox, and I know this isn't a video gaming podcast.
No, it's not.
Me.
Yeah, you say that shit for Nick. I'm not Nick. I'm Cory.
Forgive me though. I think this is relevant because I really think Xbox came out and they released Halo, and Halo was a game changer when it came to video games. It really spotlighted the potential of what a video game could be. It's fun. It's sort of graphic, and it has like a deep story.
I'm gonna go a little earlier than you, and this is coming from a guy that's not a video game guy. I'm gonna go to Grand Theft Auto. Which came first, Grand Theft Auto or Halo?
Well, technically, Grand Theft Auto came first, but like the Grand Theft Auto we know today, like 3D Grand Theft Auto,
yeah,
that was around the same time as Halo.
Okay, so I'm going back to Grand Theft Auto, where when I remember the news media surrounding Grand Theft Auto, and how so many PTA groups and fat Yenta housefrau moms that were sexless because their husbands were boinking their secretaries were all bent out of shape when Grand Theft Auto came out because they thought it was a bad influence on their kid and making light of stealing cars and running over hookers on LA street.
But like it's totally on them because it had an MA rating.
Right, it like, totally did.
For kids. But that stigma's totally dead now.
But I think that it started.
Those games.
I'm agreeing with you. It started with those levels of games. It started when they had to put the MA on it, when they had to put teen on it, TE or whatever those ratings are. When they had to start rating video games, that's when it went from being entertainment to being for an older generation. I mean, I'm a Twitcher and I sit on Twitch for hours at night because I have no one to cuddle with. I sit on Twitch for hours and I'm watching these old heads playing video games. Old dudes playing video games. It's not all young people.
Yeah. It's hardly young people, I'd say. I'd say the demographic is really, it's like 20 to like 35. Like that's like the demo for video games now. And like, to be fair, it did start earlier when it was like pushing for an older audience with things like Mortal Kombat, which was notorious for being sort of violent, and Doom and stuff like that. But still at that time, that was sort of a niche thing. But like Halo, that was like a phenomena.
Well,
Same with Grand Theft Auto.
When the industry found out that they could reach an older market, and why wouldn't you? Because prior to that, Jake, from a business standpoint, prior to that, they had to reach the kids, and that in the video game industry had to hinge their bets on the ability of those kids to sell their parents on spending their money for that video game. When the video game industry was able to reach an older audience, they were also able to reach a more decisive income level of those people, because as you get older people, they have more decisions over their income versus a child has to sell it to their parents, and then their parents have to take their old ass swollen ankled self to see if this is something that they want to approve for their kid to play with. So once the video game industry found a way into that older controlled income market, everything started playing to them. They're producing more things for that income controlled market than they are for the non-income controlled market of kids.
Yeah, there's certainly still games that are like huge with kids, like
Damn,
Minecraft, Roblox, Fortnite is huge with kids, Rocket League. But like,
I just took Nick's
I'd say like
job.
a majority of games.
Nick is out. I just took Nick's job. He's out.
Yeah, you're with me now. Tomorrow on the Loner Gamecast.
I got something to do. I got sleeping and loneliness and crying to get done.
But like, I'd say with like Mortal Kombat and Doom,
Finish
what those
him.
games were really, what they were trying to do was trying to be edgy, and it's like that kind of appeals to kids. It's like edginess, and like same with Grand Theft Auto, like that kind of appeals to kids because kids like that edgy shit.
Yeah, but it
was
built,
with Halo.
But it was built on the precipice of the fact that those kids had to sell their parents on spending that money.
but it was with Halo where it was mature content, but with a more sort of developed story, and we've really seen that come to the forefront in more modern video games with like The Last of Us, which is just this beautiful sweeping story that just like knocks you off, it knocks your breath away, but like kids can't play that because it's way too violent.
It knocks
but
you
it's
right
just a beautiful
off
story.
Of your feet.
There's way more substance in video games now, which is it's interesting. So like, are kids just like interested in iPads, or are they gonna go back to Hot Wheels? I don't know.
They're gonna go back to Hot Wheels are done. iPads will eventually fade.
Yeah.
And they're going to go on to something else that's going to come out eventually, because we've never seen in history where we've regurgitated back. Nintendo released that special little mini console. I wanted one of those so bad. They sold out. They were a big thing. It was like, you finally got the hot chick home from the bar. You banged her out and then you threw her off to the wayside and you have no interest in going back to it. What is your vintage Nintendo thing doing right now? It's probably sitting in your closet next to your blow-up dolls. You're not playing it every day.
I actually gave it to my nephew.
There you go.
I gave it to my nephew.
Shows how much you care
about
it. So there's never going to be a reverse in history. There's always going to be something new that's going to get out, and someone at some point, some organization, some manufacturer somewhere is going to find a way to get back to that business model of attracting the younger kids and then selling the parents on those things. And then there also will be something different. So it's just all about what people are going to develop. I don't see us ever going back to Matchbox cars. Matchbox cars have now become so antiquated that I see them on Storage Wars on the Discovery Channel, where when someone finds a Matchbox car, now they take them down to a Matchbox or a Hot Wheels car appraiser, and they say, oh, you found a Matchbox car worth $1,100. That's where Matchbox cars are now. And when you go and you buy them off the shelf today, they're not die cast. They're this little foil aluminum bullshit that you can't even put your finger on and push because you have a dent in your hood.
It makes me wonder though, like, what are kids today gonna be interested in video games in the future, like I am, because it makes me think like Star Wars. Okay, I'm keeping it nerdy today. Star Wars was huge back in the 70s, 80s with a younger demographic and the few older weird guys. But like really, it was like kids. Like kids love Star Wars. And then when the prequels came out in the 90s, early 2000s, all of those old people were kind of pissed about them because they're like, this is so kiddie and lame. I was a kid at the time, and I was like, this shit rocks. And now I look back on it, and I'm like, those movies are pretty rough. But with the new ones that came out, right, they were kind of trying to cater to that older audience of Star Wars fans. They were putting in the fan servicey stuff, trying to be a little bit older. But what ended up happening was they were trying to appeal to both markets instead of just focusing on either the kids or the adults, which ended up, they made a lot of money. But what ended up happening was, I think it may have hurt the brand in the long run, because what you ended up seeing was all of these toys that they put on the shelves, unlike the 90s, unlike the 70s, 80s, these toys weren't selling. No one was buying them. The adults were like, this franchise isn't for me. And the kids were like, this franchise isn't for me. So like, who is your market now? And you kind of killed your franchise. I'm wondering that about video games, where it's like really appealing to the older demographic, but what's it doing for kids? And when those kids become the demographic that it's supposed to appeal to, like an older demographic, they're going to be like, well, I have no connection to video games and I don't really want to play the new, whatever, Last of Us, Uncharted or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting.
It is interesting,
media grew,
but
the medium grew with us, but like it didn't stay with the newer generation.
There's going to be, there'll be something. There'll be something that will emerge. We don't know. There's some Ivy League kid right now, sitting in a college dorm room, that's thinking of something that, you know, he's going to steal $1,000 from his grandma to make, and he's going to change the world. He'll put a hit out on Mark Zuckerberg, and we'll have it, and that'll be what the next generation will be yanking their yam bags over. And we just don't know
it's
what
VR.
that is. VR sucks right now. Somebody needs to make that better.
It does.
But
they're trying.
They're trying.
They're trying.
I can't sit soda popping. I'm not sitting in your Twitch channel anymore watching you do VR chat. And one thing about VR.
VR chat is awesome though.
Why can't you you should be able to block your line of sight. XQC went into a VR room and thousands of people were in there with him, and he's trying to play a little video, a game or whatever, like he's at a carnival or something like that, or a game room or something, and all these other VR chatters, all these other Randys just kept getting in his line of sight where he couldn't even see the fucking the game he was playing. There should be something in there where you should be able to block the line of sight where people can't just get in there. I mean, it was literally like he was being bum rushed in virtual reality.
Yeah, that's VR chat though. VR chat is like that. It's hilarious. Yeah, they're trying. There's things like Half-Life Alyx, which was like a huge improvement this year for VR. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows?
But yeah, who knows what the future of everything is? Just to bring it back to like Disneyland. Like Disneyland was always very kid centric, and that was Disney's whole thing. I want it to appeal to kids, and then when they grow up and have kids, then we'll appeal to their kids, and they'll come back and have the nostalgia and the rinse and repeat forever and ever. But now Disney almost aims at an older demographic with things like Marvel and Star Wars, right? More of a teenage demographic, more of a early 20s demographic.
Controllable.
So what does
income.
that mean for the right? But what does that mean for the future of the brand? If these kids that weren't able to see these Marvel movies because they were rated PG-13 and they were 6 years old, and they have no connection to these things, so like what does that mean for them in the future? And they're like, I have no interest in Marvel. That's what my dad likes, you know.
Yeah, and I don't like what my dad likes unless he has a train room. If he's got a train room, I like what my dad likes.
Yeah, but I have no interest in train rooms, you know?
And that's why you're a bad son. You're a horrible son.
My dad also collects stamps. Like what?
Yeah, I'm out.
That's the end of the show.
Yeah.
Bye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Not even doing outro. Fuck it. Actually, check out the Rom-Com show. It just posted. Check that out. Okay, bye.
Professionalism. Just the